Oh, that's really bright. Oh, what does that look like? Oh, it's very pale. Let's bring that up a bit. Like that. Gosh, it feels like it's very pale, very huge. Okay, we'll just go with it. We'll just go with it. Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Joanne Hakaraia Olsen tōku ingoa, nau mahara mai ki tēnei wānanga o te wānui a tāne. Wonderful to be in the forest this morning. It's so peaceful now, but when I first came in it was very vibrant. The manu, the birds, were playing with each other and flying in and out, and to me, he tohu pai, that's a wonderful sign that that I have safe passageway to come through, and that the mauri, or the life force of the forest, is vibrant and happy and joyful, and that will be a wonderful korowai or cloaking for the kōrero that I share with you today. Now I'm standing under a rākau called Puta Puta Weta. Puta Puta Weta. And this is the trunk. It's a tree that's split in two, and I'm just flabbergasted as to this tree, because normally I've only seen Puta Puta Weta as very fragile looking trees, and not as big as this tree. And this tree is huge. I'm thinking it's probably around 100 years old, if not older. I'm not sure. I've only seen 2 or 3 this large on my walks in the forest. So before I with the kōrero that I'm going to share with you today, I put a karanga, a call out into this forest to see where I would go to deliver the kōrero and which rākau would support the kōrero. And this one, the Puta Puta Weta, is the one that was calling. So we are here, and it's wonderful to be standing under her korowai. And the kōrero today is about from trauma to healing. From trauma to healing. And when I thought about that kōrero, I knew that I wanted to be in a place where the kōrero would be supported. And so this rākau, Puta Puta Weta, is a rākau that to me is very, well, when she's growing, when she's juvenile, and what I've known her to be has been quite fragile, because she's quite tall and slender. The trunk is usually tall and slender, and her leaves are marble leaf, but they're very fragile, but also very gracious, like very beautiful, very feminine, but she doesn't look as strong as other rākau, yet she is very strong. She's able to withstand, she's able to withstand many storms. She likes to grow in swampy ground or in damp conditions. She grows, her companions are huge trees like the kahikatea, the rimu, the niko, the mamaku. There's so many huge trees, the kauri, that she is growing with. So she has a lot of mana. It's just that we don't see her size, her solidness, her strength a lot. Normally she's looking fragile, but now that we've come to this rākau here. It's just wonderful to be under her veil, under her cloak. She's like a grandmother. She's a kuia. Maybe a great-grandmother. She is just, I mean, her presence is very quiet. She's very quiet, and she's kind of in the background, always observing. She's there, and you notice her when you kind of move back the curtains of the other trees, and you see her graciousness. Most people, when they're in the ngahere in the forest and they're looking at trees, they're looking for the big trees, the ones that really stand out. But there are trees that it's kind of like are hidden in the background, that have got so many characteristics about them that we can not notice them. We don't see them until, you know, something within you puts a call out to see them and then to admire their characteristics. And in this case, with the puta weta being gracious, and in her state right now where she is standing, she is solid and strong. There is so much mana, feminine, she's divine. She's a great grandmother, full of wisdom. Something else that you might like to know is that the pūriri moth, or the larvae of the pūriri, likes to burrow into the bark to eat away the inner bark. The pūriri moth, or the larvae, will look for this tree and burrow a diamond-shaped hole so that it can eat the inner bark. And then it makes this little cave inside the trunk. And then our other indigenous creature called the weta makes a home in that cave that the pūriri larvae has created. And I find that fascinating. So there is insights and kōrero within what I just shared with you about the weta and the pūriri moth larvae. But this tree is named after that weta. So it is a hibernation for the weta, who are nocturnal. They come out at night. They like the dark. Are they nocturnal? Or they like the dark? They like the dark. So I thought that would be something interesting that you would like to know. But we're here to talk about from trauma to healing. And what I want to share is that as a Rongoā Māori healer, I work with wahine, I work with women who have suffered trauma and they're navigating through that traumatic event. And when I work with the wahine, they have disconnected from their body. They've disconnected from their body because they don't want to feel the pain that's there. When we go through a traumatic event, our mind wants to switch off from that. We don't want to remember that event, so we switch off, lights out. We switch off that period, that time period, that event whenever it happened, and we disassociate ourselves from our body. Why we disassociate ourselves from the body is because when we've gone through something traumatic, we have affected the emotional layer in the body, the emotional layer. And the emotional layer is moving energy. It's moving energy within the body that will just stop and hold when a traumatic event has occurred, because you're freezing that time period. You're freezing that time period in your being, so that emotional layer becomes solid, becomes frozen. And over time, it starts to solidify. That energy starts to solidify. And then it appears in the body. It appears as pain in the body. And then when it starts to really get your attention, because it wants to move, that energy wants to move, because your body naturally is healing all the time. It's always trying to go into balance. And so it wants to shift that stuck energy. But we are holding that solid, because we're not ready to unwind that, to go back in time to re-energize that so that it can flow, because that event is just too painful to remember. So the body starts to scream and shout in different ways. It starts off as a little pain, then it starts to get bigger, and it may turn into something like an illness or a disease that appears on the body, because it's solidified and it's trying to get your attention to move it, to shift it, to unwind it. And to unwind that pain that's in the body, we do have to go into that memory to unlock it, to allow it to flow, because it is energy. We need to unlock it. When it's become solid or an illness, we can work with prescription medication, or we can work with herbal medicine or rongoa to help to shift that. But it's up to the person to initiate the healing in the first place. They have to find the energy, because they know instinctively that any healing requires energy. It requires a change, and that takes energy. And we know this, and we have to conjure up that energy from somewhere when we're being depleted. When we're depleted and fatigued, we have to find that energy from somewhere. And so the person that has suffered the trauma has to find the right conditions, the right space, the right support around them to initiate the healing spark within them, which creates energy. And I just want to share about a kakano, a seed. When a seed is in the ground, is in papatuanuku, it will not enlighten, it will not grow until it knows that its environment is safe. It will not grow or spark its seed or break away its shell until it knows it's in a safe environment. It knows this by the tremors of the earth, by the vibration. Everything in nature is a vibration, so that seed knows when the right time it is to break away, to hatch its shell, to break out of its shell. And this is the same with wahine who have suffered trauma. That seed needs to know that it's safe to hatch, to come into being. It knows intrinsically when to do that because of the vibration of the earth, the vibration of its environment. It knows the right temperature, the right sound, the right vibration, the right conditions, the right water flow, nutrient availability. It knows all of this intrinsically. So it knows when to come out of its shell to go into pursuit of growth. And this is the same for wahine who have suffered trauma and are navigating a healing pathway. Something intrinsically happens within them where there is the spark within them that starts to burn. It lights up. And it's very, very subtle, and it indicates to the wahine, that to the woman, that it's safe to do so now. It's safe to heal. It doesn't come through in words or someone saying that to them. It has to come from within them. So it's their power coming to light. So that's their empowerment that's been enlightened. And it intrinsically says, now is the time. Then that energy, that light burns, it flickers. It flickers, and it does get your attention somehow, because the thought comes in and says, I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready. And you don't have to do anything more. As soon as you say that, I'm ready to heal, then universal consciousness goes into action and brings you all the people, all the books, all the workshops, everything that you need to begin your journey of healing. And you know how to find, you know when you found the right person or the right workshop, because you know instinctively it feels right, they feel good, they feel supportive, they feel trustworthy. These are the things that are going through your mind because you're sensing your environment to make sure everything's safe, because of the healing journey that you're about to embark on. Universal consciousness goes into action and takes care of everything for you as soon as you make that decision to heal that event. And it may come in the form that you do not understand. But apologies if this video is going to look different to the last one. I was recording in some mode, and now we're recording in this mode, so hopefully there's no disruption. So as you know, I'm a Rongoā Māori healer in Aotearoa, New Zealand. I work with wahine on their healing journey as they navigate through trauma. But my role is to bring you back into your body, is to guide you into bringing you back into your body. And I do this through body work, guided meditations, bringing you into the ngahere, into the forest, and helping you to be very present within your body and feeling that peace and clarity and spaciousness. My journey from trauma to healing is, I was diagnosed with cancer back in 2008, and even though that's traumatic in itself, that wasn't the trauma that I experienced. The trauma that I experienced was when I went through internal radiation. I did external radiation and had internal radiation also. Internal radiation is where they place steel rods in the body, and you are in radiation for a set specific period of time. For me, it was 40 hours. about 40 hours. It felt like a lifetime, but it was 40 hours. That was not where the trauma started. The trauma started in the after I had the rods inserted. I woke up in the room where there were a few of us. I had been given morphine, but I woke up in excruciating pain that I was calling out to the nurses to help me. And I was calling out to the nurses to help me. I even grabbed the nurse's arm and said, I need more morphine. I need it now. She looked like she didn't hear me or didn't want to hear me, or perhaps I'd had my quota of morphine, but I was in excruciating pain. And it was in that moment, because she walked away, didn't say that I was getting any, and I demanded to have these rods taken out, that I had made a mistake. And now, as soon as I had said that, they went and got the morphine. But as soon as I had said that, I felt my mind drift away, and I felt myself being disconnected from my body. In that moment, I really felt it. I know that I felt it then because I've done an enormous amount of healing work, of understanding the trauma of being disassociated from the body. And I was disassociated from my body for a number of years. That was the defining moment of trauma for me. And when I wrote about it, and I wrote the title was My Soul Left Me. When my soul left me. Because that's what it felt like. I was an empty shell walking around for a few years. And I wasn't in my body, I wasn't grounded, I was going with the flow of whoever was in my life. I went to parties, I did all sorts of things to numb whatever was going on within me. And I was on the wrong pathway. And it wasn't until I shifted homes, and I remember thinking that I need to do something. It was just something, I need to do something. I think I need to see someone, or something's happening to me. I could feel the enlightenment, the little spark. I felt that come to light, and I was searching for help, but I didn't know what I was searching for, what kind of help I was looking for, because I still hadn't understood the trauma that I had suffered. I just knew that I needed to find someone to help me, and I was looking. I attended spiritual groups that were not for me. They were not for me. I was encouraged in the end to go back to my marae, back to my roots, which I did. And I remember I wanted to be around my people, around Māori people. I felt like that was coming a light. And there was a job advertised in the paper, and it was for a Māori organisation, and it was very local to me, and I thought, I think I need to go for this job interview. And so I went to the interview. And there were 3 people in there. There was a husband and wife, and there was a nun. The husband and wife were Māori, and I think there was somebody else. No, the husband and wife. The man that was there, he was a tohunga, a Māori, a tohunga. I didn't know it at the time. And one of the interview questions he asked me was, do I feel like the Treaty of Waitangi is being upheld? This was many years ago that he asked this question, and I said no. And he went further and said, why? Now, just that one question opened my heart, and I burst into tears in that interview. I burst into tears because of that one question. What he had done, that tohunga, was he could see, obviously, that I needed healing, and that he was able to open or clear the muck that was covering my heart, open it slightly so that I could purge through all the tears, which I did. I got the job. And it was the best thing that happened to me, because that man, that tohunga, took me under his wing, him and his wife, and I'm so appreciative of them for that. They took me under their wing and opened the world te ao Māori for me, opened my spiritual eyes so that I could see, and then so I could also heal. I felt safe. It was the right environment for what I needed at the time, for the healing that I needed to go through. During the period that I was with them, I read a book by Brandon Bayes, The Journal, and I did that healing work for about 2 years. I became addicted to doing that healing work. I wanted to shift everything in my body that I had been holding on to. If only you could see what I can see now. There are 3, 4 little quails that have come out, which I find very wonderful, because it means that they're feeling safe to come out, but also very nurturing. Ngā mihi, ngā mihi. Softening the Māori of what we're talking about. I did that healing work for many years, and to this day I still do a lot of journal work. I do a lot of healing work within myself. I'm always growing. I'm always growing and very observant with my surroundings and notice everything, and I'm very protective now of my space. I was able to bring myself back into my body through journal work, through body work. The body work was amazing because I was able to feel everything in my body, and I would get this weekly because it was so good for me, and that it returned me to my body. I could feel everything where the tohunga was working on me. I felt everything in my body. And where she would work, where I would feel that, I would do my own healing work with that to find out what memory that came from. Because I fine-tuned myself to be able to know my pain, what belonged to me and what didn't belong to me, know my pain, and I knew how to unravel that and go back into a memory where I had stored that in my body, and I was able to unravel that and clear that to make it more movable. And I worked on this, working this way for a few years, and I still do it. Now I'm able to do that for others, and I know what I'm looking for, I know what to unravel, and I know the intricacies that what wahine feel, and the flow and gentleness that we need to work through this trauma, to heal it. There is a way to do that, and it is very gentle. We are always using I'm always using my matakititanga, my intuition, to work in the flow of wahine. So yes, I just thought I would share my journey of trauma to healing with you, so that you know that, so that you know my experience in that and how I healed that. So I know I am cancer free, and I have been for nearly 20 years. And even that was an intrinsic knowing that I had completely healed it, because the memory of that trauma did not affect me anymore. Or even the memory of why the cancer came on in the first place did not affect me anymore. I had completely healed that. And I know when I have healed something is when the situation, I can talk about the situation, or I can talk about the person or to the person without any emotion coming over me. That's when I know I have healed completely. I think that on that note we will complete our day. I'm very grateful to you, the people that support me in the work that I do, that encourage me, that enlighten me. I'm just very grateful. So on that note, I'm going to do a closing karakia. Kia taura, ngā manaakitanga te mingaro, ki runga ki tēnā o tātou. Kia mahia te hua mā kihikihi. Kia toi te kupu, toi te mana, toi te aroha, toi te reo Māori. Kia tūturu whiti whakamaua, kia tīna, aumi e hui e, tai ki e. Ngā mihi.